Well, hey there. Welcome to the Movie Review Mom YouTube channel. If you are a subscriber, yay, thank you for coming back. I truly appreciate your support. And if this is the first time you've ever seen my channel, yay, you found me. I'm so glad you're here. My goal is to give you the heads up on filmmaking quality and content so that you can make the best decision as to whether or not you want to spend time or money or both watching this film. So this film that I'm reviewing today is called Gringa. This comedy slash drama movie is now available to stream online. It's rated R and is an hour and 42 minutes. The movie review mom grade I'm giving it is an A minus. So I really enjoyed this movie. Let me give you an overview in a nutshell, and then I'll point out the things that I really liked about the movie as well as didn't like about the movie. And then I'll offer tips for parents, themes worth talking about, interesting lines, funny lines, and even recommendations for other films sort of like this that I think you'll also enjoy if you like this one. All right, you ready? Let's dive in. In a nutshell, the story is about a troubled teenage girl who runs away to Mexico to find the father she's never known. Together, they learn that a family can be put back together even if all they have are the missing pieces. The film was directed by Marnie Eng and E.J. Forrester. The story was written by Patrick Hasberg. The movie has already been nominated for multiple awards at various film festivals and won. So when I was a teenager, I was an exchange student in Mexico. Yep, I was a gringa. So this movie definitely spoke to me. Mexico has such a beautiful culture with warm people, and it will always have a very special place in my heart. Now, for those of you who don't know, gringa is a white person, specifically an American Caucasian, who goes down to Mexico and doesn't belong. So there's a little bit of that in this movie. But first, let me tell you about some of the things that I liked about the film. The young starlet is played by Jess Gabor or Gabor. I don't know how to pronounce your name correctly. I didn't even remember seeing her in anything before, although she's been in Shameless, the movie Her Story back in 2018, and Confessional in 2019. I thought she did a great job, and I anticipate seeing her in many more films to come. I always get a kick out of the ever endearing Steve Zahn. He is such a delight to watch in everything that he does, and he does everything well in this movie. The film also stars Judy Greer. However, she didn't last too long in the movie, and I was sad about that because I do like Judy Greer a lot. But the cast also includes Jorge A. Jimenez, Nico Bracewell, and Rosalind Sanchez, among others. The film blends a lot of drama with humor. So if you enjoy Mexican football, meaning soccer, you're going to get a kick, pun intended, out of this flick. If you enjoy father-daughter movies, I think you'll enjoy it even more. There are a lot of entertaining conversations and noteworthy lines, and I'll share a few of them with you here in just a minute. I love that both the father and the daughter in the story experience coming of age insights. The daughter is growing up, and the dad's got some growing up to do as well, leaving his carefree single life to now a single father life. The lovely musical score gets you in the mood to feel the Mexican spirit, and you do. You're going to want to eat some really good Mexican food after you watch this movie. I love the quinceañera tradition in Mexico. It's kind of a coming out party to celebrate a girl's young womanhood. They get all dressed up like a princess, basically, and have a massive party. It is a big deal to celebrate when they become 15 years old. Quinceañera. The part where the mother washes the girl's feet is an especially touching, sweet moment. There is some action, romance, comedy, humor, and a lot of heart in this movie. And like I said, I really enjoyed it. Now, with all of that praise, there were just a few things that I didn't like or thought could have been done differently or done a little bit better. First of all, there are a lot of cliches that make the plot extremely predictable. It's weird to me that someone can live in a foreign country for so many years and still not learn the language. That's always seemed a bit disrespectful for me, and to me, that's both those coming into America who just don't bother to learn the language. I've met so many people who have lived here for decades and they still don't speak English. But then it also goes, the other way around. If you were going to be an American, don't expect everybody to speak English, and learn to appreciate that other country's culture, people, language, art, the whole deal. So one of my bachelor's degrees is in international relations. I love learning about all different types of cultures and language and music and art and architecture and all of that kind of stuff. And so it still just boggles my mind when other people aren't interested in that, especially if they're living in a country. All right, but enough of that talk. Let me give you some tips for parents. There is a lot of profanity, including F-bombs, although a Catholic priest tries to help a man overcome his potty mouth. So it's rated R because of language, but also for some sexual content. I'll tell you a bit more about that. There's a lot of sex talk and talk of loss of virginity. There's an unmarried woman who sleeps with a lot of men and talks about it openly to her daughter. We see a car crash and a funeral. Spanish is spoken with subtitles. A man drinks a lot of alcohol and gets drunk all of the time. A teenage girl binge eats and then throws up often. Underage girls drink alcohol during a party and there's adults there and nobody's batting an eye, which I thought was weird. And there's the danger of illegal crossing at the US-Mexican border represented in the film. All right, so some of the themes that are illustrated well are family, specifically father-daughter relationships, bulimia, death and grief, parenting, trust, and second chances. And all of this is enveloped in a coming of age story. So I always write down funny lines and interesting lines just so you can kind of get a feel for the dialogue and the script writing. I have all of them on my website, moviereviewmom.com, so you can check them out over there. But I'll share a few of them with you right now. This one just kind of made me chuckle. So this is the dad, whose name is Jackson. He's played by Steve Zahn, and he's talking to his newly discovered daughter he didn't even know, was going to be around in his life ever. And she shows up after her mother dies. And so her name is Marge, and she's played by Jess Gabor. The mother's name is also Marge, or Margie. Anyways, and so he says, she died? Margie died? How? And then the daughter says, the hard way? And she really did die the hard way. So that was kind of sad. And then the dad is just a carefree surfer, and he surfs all the time. And so Marge, the daughter, says to him, are you going surfing? And he looks at her and he says, you're going to get to the point where you don't have to ask that, because he's just always surfing. And then the daughter meets a boy named Chilo, who's played by Nico Bracewell. And he speaks English. He says, I speak English like Harry Potter, which of course he doesn't. He has a thick Mexican accent, but I thought that was pretty cute. And then the dad, again, Jackson, is talking to a friend who's, doing something nice for him. And he says, don't spoil me, Patrick. I don't handle it well. And I thought, I got to remember that line. I thought that was kind of cute. And then more importantly, there are some very interesting lines that have profound insights in them. For example, Judy Greer plays the mom, and she says to her daughter, the person you see is not who you are. And that's such a great message for teenage girls. Well, what am I saying? Adult girls, adult women too, where we look in the mirror and we think that's the whole story. It's not. It's just a reflection on glass. And so the mom is very open with her daughter. They have really good, honest conversations. And it's a real sweet relationship, I think. So the father and the daughter have a playful relationship, and they're both struggling with various weaknesses. For example, the dad is a drunk. He's an alcoholic and has a problem. And the daughter is a bulimic. She's got an eating, binging problem. And so one day she's lecturing her dad, trying to get him to stop drinking. And she says, you need to take better care of yourself. And he has heard her throwing up multiple times, and he knows she's got a problem. And he says to her, you first. And so I thought it was sweet that they both recognize they're struggling and that they are there to support each other as best as they can. And then at another point, because Marge is obsessed with her weight, and she's not even fat, She says, she puts on this dress and she says to the dad, "Does this make me look fat?" And he shakes his head and he says, "Proud." And I thought, oh, that's a good dad moment. He recognized she needed to hear that. And so I thought that was really sweet. Overall, the movie is very sweet. It's playful. You've got soccer, you've got the father-daughter relationship, you've got the Mexico culture and all of that going on. And it's all blended together in a very nice, although cliched story, or predictable, I should say. So now let me share some movies that instantly came to my mind because they are father-daughter relationship movies. The very first one is one that just recently came out. I did a review on that one. It's called Acid Man. It's a grown daughter who's going to check out her dad and see how he's doing because he's aging and dementia is starting to kick in, and she's just trying to check in on him, but she's struggling with things too. And together they're able to help one another. And so I really like that. Another one is a father-daughter relationship movie with a teenage daughter and her father called Don't Make Me Go. And they go on a road trip and they learn a lot about each other and the sacrifices that they make for one another in life and all of that kind of stuff. It's also heartwarming. And then another one is called Mr. Birthday. Now, it's not the high quality Hollywood type of film. It's a little bit more low budget indie, but it's also sweet. It's a dad trying to figure out how to be a good dad to, again, a young daughter. So check all of those out. I think that you'll enjoy those if you like this one as well. And when you get a minute, run over to Instagram and friend me. Well, I know we don't call it that on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. You can find me as Movie Review Mom, but you can also find me as Trina Boice. It's kind of my author page where I talk about my travels, my books, my podcast, stuff like that. Thank you again so much for spending a few minutes with me. Have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.